Do you ever wonder what happens to the soul of a superstar trade years after the headlines fade? Tonight, we're witnessing the bittersweet conclusion of one of the most complicated relationships in NBA history. The official end of Kevin Durant's connection to the Golden State Warriors, finalized not with fanfare or ceremony, but with a quiet second-round pick that traveled through 6 different teams before finding its home in Memphis. This isn't just another draft night story. This is the final punctuation mark on a saga that gave us championships, heartbreak, and enough drama to fuel a Netflix series. After years of twists, turns, and traded assets, the last piece of the Kevin Durant puzzle has finally been placed, and it's nothing like anyone expected. The complicated legacy that haunts the Bay. Let's be brutally honest about the Kevin Durant era in Golden State. It was simultaneously the best and worst thing that ever happened to this franchise. On one hand, Durant's arrival represented a front office masterpiece that delivered 2 championships and elevated the Warriors to unprecedented heights. On the other hand, it created a cultural rift that still echoes through the organization today. Durant was never just a player for the Warriors. He was a contradiction wrapped in basketball excellence. While Stephen Curry remained the heart and soul of the team, Durant emerged as their most dominant force, winning back-to-back Finals MVP awards and establishing himself as arguably the most unstoppable scorer in NBA history. But success on the court couldn't mask the underlying tension that permeated his tenure. Durant never fully embraced the Warriors' culture, never seemed completely comfortable in their system, and always carried himself like someone who was visiting rather than belonging. The altercations with Draymond Green weren't just isolated incidents, they were symptoms of a deeper incompatibility that everyone could see, but nobody wanted to acknowledge. The injury that changed everything, the 2019 NBA Finals against Toronto, will forever be remembered as the moment everything changed. Durant, battling through a calf injury, made the heroic decision to return for Game 5 with his team's championship hopes hanging in the balance. It was the kind of moment that defines careers and legacies, a superstar putting everything on the line for his teammates. Instead, it became a nightmare. Durant's Achilles tendon snapped, ending not just his season, but his entire Warriors tenure. The image of him limping off the court, knowing his time in Golden State was over, remains one of the most devastating moments in recent NBA history. When Klay Thompson also suffered his own devastating injury, the Warriors' dynasty crumbled in real time. That injury didn't just cost the Warriors a championship, it fractured the foundation of their entire future. Durant's departure became inevitable, and the organization was left scrambling to salvage value from a relationship that had grown too complicated to repair. The desperate sign-and-trade scramble the summer of 2019 forced the Warriors into one of the most challenging negotiations in franchise history. With Durant determined to leave and join Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, Golden State had precious little time to extract value from their departing superstar. The result was a sign-and-trade that would have consequences lasting nearly a decade. The Warriors sent Durant and a protected 2020 first-round pick to Brooklyn in exchange for D'Angelo Russell, a move that seemed questionable at the time and proved disastrous in practice. Russell was a spectacular mismatch for Golden State's system, a ball-dominant guard trying to fit into a motion offense built around Curry's unique skill set. But here's where the Warriors' championship pedigree showed itself. Rather than stubbornly trying to make Russell work, they quickly pivoted, flipping him to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins and another first-round pick. Wiggins became a crucial contributor to their 2022 championship run, while that pick transformed into Javon Kuminga, a testament to how elite organizations maximize value even from failed acquisitions. The protected pick that became a journey. The most intriguing aspect of the original Durant trade was that protected 2020 first-round pick. The Warriors were gambling on their ability to remain competitive, but Durant's injury and the subsequent roster upheaval sent them spiraling to one of their worst seasons in decades. By retaining the pick, which became James Wiseman, they avoided conveying it to Brooklyn. Per the trade terms, that protection meant the pick would convert to a 2025 second-round selection, a seemingly minor detail that would take on a life of its own. What followed was a journey through 6 different teams, involving the Washington Wizards, Detroit Pistons, Boston Celtics, and ultimately the Memphis Grizzlies as the pick bounced from trade to trade like a basketball pinball. The Nets eventually swapped the Warriors' 2025 second with Washington's 32nd pick, while the Wizards sent Golden State's pick to Memphis as part of the Marcus Smart trade. It's a testament to how interconnected the modern NBA has become. A single asset can touch multiple franchises before finding its final destination. Javon Small, the unexpected final chapter when the Memphis Grizzlies used the 48th pick on West Virginia guard Javon Small, they unknowingly wrote the final chapter of the Kevin Durant trade saga. Small, a 6'1" guard who brings defensive intensity and ball handling skills, represents everything Durant was not during his Warriors tenure, a player who embodies team-first mentality and cultural fit over individual brilliance. The irony is almost poetic. Durant's departure from Golden State, marked by cultural clashes and individual ambition, ultimately resulted in a player who represents the opposite values. Small may never reach Durant's stratospheric heights, but he embodies the kind of teammate that championship organizations value, someone who prioritizes winning over personal glory. For Memphis, Small represents potential depth and energy at the point guard position. His size limitations are obvious, but his competitive fire and basketball IQ make him the type of player who could carve out a meaningful role in the right system. The cost of greatness, as we reflect on the complete Kevin Durant trade tree, the results are fascinatingly complex. The Warriors received 2 championships, a finals appearance, and years of basketball excellence. They also endured cultural disruption, devastating injuries, and the complicated process of rebuilding their identity. The trade tree ultimately produced Andrew Wiggins, key contributor to 2022 championship, Jonathan Kuminga, promising young talent, James Wiseman, disappointing but valuable experience, and now Javon Small, unknown potential. It's a mixed bag that perfectly encapsulates the Durant era, moments of brilliance overshadowed by persistent complications. The bigger picture, legacy, and learning the finalization of this trade represents more than just roster construction. It's a reminder of how single decisions can ripple through organizations for years. Durant's time in Golden State proved that talent alone doesn't guarantee harmony, that championships don't erase cultural tensions, and that sometimes the most successful partnerships are also the most complicated. For the Warriors, this saga reinforced the importance of cultural fit and organizational values. Their subsequent success in 2022, achieved without Durant but with players who fully embraced their system, validated their approach to team building. The end of an era as Javon Small begins his NBA journey in Memphis, he carries with him the final genetic code of one of the most complex trades in NBA history. The Kevin Durant era in Golden State has officially reached its conclusion, not with a championship parade or a statue unveiling, but with a second-round pick who embodies everything the Warriors learned about the importance of character and chemistry. This story teaches us that in the NBA, no trade is ever truly finished until every asset has found its final destination. The Warriors' relationship with Kevin Durant may have ended years ago, but its impact continued to reverberate through the league until this very moment. What's your take on how this trade ultimately worked out for Golden State? Did the championships justify the complications, or would they have been better off building differently? Share your thoughts in the comments and hit that like button if you love seeing how a single trade can echo through the NBA for nearly a decade.